been buzzing. It's been around for a bit, but then it has buzzed and is evolving like everything in life. But yes, so to answer your question, it's practically the release of the quickest way to release a software. I could give a retrospect view, but I don't want to bore you everybody here with that. So let's just leave it at that.
Hmm.
It's us. It's part of getting to know more about it.
Okay, okay,
Okay, so I
okay,
think you should give us maybe an example, like a
okay,
practical example.
okay. So thank you very much, Okpe. I hope I pronounced that correct. Okpe.
Yes, you're
Okay,
welcome.
okay. So let's assume you are a developer, correct? And before I'm talking about before the adoption of DevOps in the context of it as it is. So you develop a software, and then you have to now maybe the typical this is the retrospective process I'm talking about. So Okpe will develop a software, an HTML code, Java code, whatever it is. Now that software has to be deployed somewhere. So wherever your server is, usually before the invention of cloud, you had data centers, you had on-prem servers where they would manually have a server room and go and put the software inside there. So before, if you recall, 6, 7 years ago, you hear things like you hear big tech companies say, we'll do this deployment in 2 days. Well, we are doing deployment. Do you understand? It used to be a thing where people would manually copy file and go somewhere and upload a file. Then they will say they are doing deployment in the night. That used to be the flow. Do you understand? But with the advent of DevOps, you can release software in seconds and minutes. That's the whole concept of it. So now that whole process of in retrospect, when you said somebody would so let's say Okpe took 2 months to develop the software, it will take the operations team another maybe 3, 4, 5 days, depending on how complex the software is to deploy it. So I'm counting 2 months and 6 days, or 2 months and 7 days, or 2 months and 10. That's the concept. So, but now with the invent of this thing, if Okpe gives me the software today and she has told me everything and the application is working well, with all the DevOps tools that we'll use, is a no-brainer now. It's to be tested and pushed into obviously for the users, and you understand. So there are different deployment strategies, but that's basically the flow. So Okpe, please, or any other person, is there any question you have regarding to retrospect view I created, or you want me to
Yeah,
explain further?
so the thing is,
Thank
I
you.
know people
Thanks
have
for the
questions,
explanation.
but yeah, I know people have questions, but we're not taking questions now
Okay.
because we still want you to like lay the very foundation very well. But I like how Okwe asked you to like explain further, and I guess that did justice, especially the example of before. I mean, software before used to be a very big deal. Now, almost everybody now, software engineer, software developer. But those days, I mean, software, like if you hear software, you're like, hey, big boss. You understand? They used to be like the geniuses, like the ones with real brains that you're doing software. But now it almost seems like almost everyone is going into software, right? And I mean, see how we're calling DevOps, like we're calling data analytics. I'm not shading data analyst too, I'm just joking, you guys. So, but I think, Joseph, I think you should tell us the full meaning of DevOps. What does DevOps stand for?
Anyway, I thought I already broke that down. I said it's a combination of actually two words. That's the whole point. Development plus operations is the combination of two words. That's what brought the culture about DevOps. That's the whole point of how DevOps was formed. I earlier mentioned it. I don't know if you didn't hear me
Yes,
or
I just felt like some people might still, I mean, so, but thank you for that. So,
okay.
if you hear
Thank you.
DevOps, don't let your mind go to one big grammar. I mean, it's just development and operation. So, that's DevOps. Thank you so much, Joseph. So, I want to ask you that I mean, you have explained DevOps, the foundation and all of that, but I'm actually someone who is interested in the story of people. And I want you to walk me through how you yourself became a DevOps engineer. What sparked your interest? Is it that the moment they gave birth to you, you just knew that I'm going to be a DevOps engineer? Or you saw someone that was doing DevOps and had plenty of money, like, hey, I must see money, let me get money. Or what exactly led to you becoming a DevOps engineer? Tell us the story, the process, the I mean everything explainable.
Okay, thank you very much. You really want details. Okay, so I think as it's quote unquote, you said story, so I'm going to start story if anybody. But I mean, it's I don't think mine is a
Story.
very it's a very what's the word now? Let me use the word. I don't think mine is a very I mean, I don't want to. If I state my background, some people might feel like, this will be they have sense. Well, please don't be deceived. It's not like we have so much sense like that. We learn every day. So I'm gonna start. So I started as a dev. I actually started as an application support person. Then I moved into software, and then I wrote a couple of languages, and then I now realized that I don't want to be. I mean, it was from a point of there are better ways to do this thing, and then that was my own journey. So I just looked at it like, okay, I don't like I'm trying to use the word that I became a software engineer before I now became a DevOps engineer. It's That's how it looks, but my goal here is trying to make people understand that it regardless of whether you're a software engineer or somebody that doesn't know anything, you can get into the field and you will relatively do well. Of course there will be challenges. No, I'm not going to come and tell you that once you get in, man, you just become a guru overnight. Me, I'm not even a guru self, but there will be challenges that will test you, build you, and definitely make you a better person. So I think anybody in tech will tell you, if you haven't had a lot of sleepless nights, I doubt your credibility. So I mean, it's a thing with typical tech bros. They rate themselves by the kind of problems they have faced. I don't know that. I'm sure that's typical life, There are problems you would have faced that would have made you a better person. So I bring it back to your question. So my story was very simple. I started as an application support, then I became a software engineer, and then DevOps. So the concept was, um, we are in a continuously moving world, and from DevOps, everybody's, I'm sure, relatively 10 people here can tell me about, knows about the buzz of AI. Those are things. That's exactly how I'm giving this context so you understand the whole move into DevOps for me. Now, I just realized that as this thing, you cannot. There has to be better ways. I read up on. I researched. I now understood the whole concept of DevOps, and then I moved into it. I did not see anybody as at that time that was like a DevOps guy. When I started, that was collecting some blood money somewhere. I was just intrigued by okay, this how this thing will work. And then I started, and then I'm here today. So, AY, to answer your question, it's not like I saw one blood money somewhere, but I mean, given the fact that the industry is kind of a new one, and in their based on reports that are out there, the number of DevOps engineers required are lesser than total the people that even know about DevOps. So I think that basically walks through my story. AY, there's something else you want me to explain, I would really love to explain more.
There are plenty of things. Don't worry. Thank you for that story and the motivation part, motivational speaker. Inspire
Aspire
to
to aspire.
perspire. Exactly. But then you said, if I heard you correctly, you said you started with software, right?
I started as an application support guy. I
Application
was putting
support
up
guy.
support. So
Hmm.
it's not like the science was there too much. You just be pressing and pressing laptop, and then you figure out, okay, this thing, then you pick it up, and then you're like, okay, I can actually try this one out too. And then
Hmm.
the progression, it was not like I just woke up and
Yeah.
said, I saw one boss one day that was driving Ferrari, and I said, yes, that is the job. So
But then, if you don't mind me asking, what did you study in school?
okay, I think that is what is going to motivate people. So I studied, I have a BSc or a BBA in human resource management and
Jesus
information.
is Lord.
So so
Wow.
it was a very big leap for me generally, because you know how you feel. Let me way a typical graduate that finished school, and then
Mm-hmm.
all your friends are gonna maybe going to go and write CIPM or something. You're like, yeah, that you're not looking back. Actually, I'm following the
Mm.
right way, but it's had its specs, and we're happy to be here. So yeah.
So it means that you don't have to do software application support in school to become a DevOps engineer.
Oh no, no, of course not. Of course, I am of the school thought that believes that there's nothing anybody cannot do. I mean, everybody, somebody here can decide tomorrow to go and become a space rocket engineer. There's nothing you cannot do.
Mm.
It's just determination and discipline. That, I mean, it's the key. There's really nothing anybody cannot do. It's if you put in the hours. I mean, it
Mm.
shows. So yeah, that's basically that.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, what's your perspective about coding and DevOps? Is it possible to do DevOps without coding?
Ah, hmm. Anyway, you're carrying me go. I don't know, but I mean, I will try. Okay, so I will be as honest and as also brutal as possible. It's very, very possible. Would it be a bit tricky? Yes. Would it be easier if you have a background in software? Yes, a big, big yes. Because I'll give you bigger examples. So on the curriculum that's available, we're going to talk about things like IAC, infrastructure as code. It's, I mean, that's one of the concepts we'll talk about, but that's something that, I mean, even the code is literally there. Do you understand? But it's not like, let's be clear, it's not like you're not gonna be writing things like Java or C plus plus, all those language that those our coders, all those Agba coders used to write that their hair will not be pushing inside. No, it's not those kind of. But it helps if you have a programming background. It does help because there are things that you would typically come across and you're like, whoa, this thing if you run and but it helps. Do you understand? Because I'll give you a typical example. Infrastructure as code is one, shell script is one, but I mean all those things. So to answer your question, it would help, but if you don't have it, whoa, now I will not lie. It's not like me. I used to write plenty code like that. I'm sure 4 5 people here know what ChatGPT is. You can generate the code. You don't need to understand the code, and you move along. So it's possible. It will just require you to put in more hours than the typical guys that are coming from software. So that's my own thought on that process.
Hmm. So, from what you explained now, someone that is entirely new to tech, like I'm just hearing about tech today for the first time, cannot go into DevOps directly.
Yeah. Okay. let me answer the question like this. You can, like I said, I honestly believe that AY now is starts talking to me now and can decide to become a NASA engineer tomorrow.
You
Anything
say
is
what?
possible.
You say
You
what?
can, yeah, you can decide to become a. I honestly believe anything is possible once you have a motivation that is driving you. So as a person, yeah, like AY said, maybe I saw some bros. So me as a person, every this thing is it sounds very unconventional. When I want to pick up a new something, anything I want to do, and I want to have a picture. I learned this thing from somebody I know. He would literally go and get a picture of somebody he knows that is doing that thing. So maybe the person is driving, for example, now the person is driving in Nigeria, and the person driving a Jigard. You will take a picture of the person driving that Jigard, how he bought it. So it's always focused. So anytime he's doing particular thing, he's looking at his objective. Now, I digress. But coming back to your question, can you, with no experience at all, come into DevOps? Yes. Would it be easier for somebody who has software experience? Obviously, I mean, because when I say certain things, each person can relate. And I'll give you a typical example. When all the things Okwe said here, that I said the whole software releases, somebody that's coming into tech now will not appreciate okay would not really appreciate some like will not appreciate it in context of somebody who has, let me put it like this. So imagine if you were in tech when you have to literally carry code and be going to server room to deploy, and now you can now literally deploy it in 10 seconds. You will see that somebody who did not experience that era will not really appreciate it. But to answer your question, AY, can you get into tech without software coding experience? I honestly believe it's possible. It's depending on the individual and your determination and overall commitment to the cause. That's honestly what I believe.
Okay, now let me ask this question based on what you just said. When it comes to DevOps now, what is the relationship between cloud computing and DevOps engineering? Or let me say, is there a difference between cloud administration or cloud computing and DevOps engineering? Is it that DevOps is a higher form, or is just another career path entirely? Or some, like you have been talking about software being a prerequisite, which can be helpful for DevOps. Does it mean if someone has if someone is a cloud administrator now, or someone is in cloud computing, can they also like transition into DevOps? Is there a relationship? You get my question?
Okay, I totally get your question.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer it like this. So I'm gonna explain what cloud is for the benefit of those who don't know what cloud is. So when typically in the IT space, when somebody says something is in the cloud, it means there's a server somewhere provided by a third party that is hosting your application or whatever service you are consuming. So cloud, that is the context of cloud. So I just wanted to drop that out for people who are not really very technical. Now, so in your context of cloud engineering, so let's also go back to the original example. So let's say before cloud came, a DevOps engineer will still be the DevOps engineer now. It's just that the difference is now you will not have cloud server to go and be dropping, or cloud resource to go and be dropping the application now. So um to answer your question, is there a difference between a cloud administrator and a DevOps engineer? I mean, a cloud administrator is like the word imply cloud. You are responsible for cloud resources. But however, in this new modern age and things, it usually happens that you can double as a you can double as a cloud engineer, as because if you work into DevOps, you will definitely be using cloud let me put it like this: cloud providers vendor tools. What I mean is this. Okay, so the major cloud providers that we know, okay, I won't say everybody, the major ones that people know are AWS, Oracle, AWS, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and Azure, Microsoft. Now all these vendors have what they call how do I put it? Let me pick the right words. All these vendors have services they render, so they provide brand various services that people can consume. Now, a typical cloud administrator guy would know, okay, I know this particular vendor, I can play around the services, I know how to use his database, I know how to configure certain. That is a typical cloud guy. You manage, do you understand? Manage cloud resources, do you understand? But the thing is, in this, the way DevOps is now structured, in this current dynamic, unless you are working with very, very big tech companies and stuff, you would typically not. I mean, there are a couple of guys that still do on-premises servers or have servers, data centers, you understand, but they are not so much. The context is a cloud, a, in my experience so far, a, a relatively vast DevOps engineer can double as a cloud engineer, in my experience. So to answer your question, can somebody in cloud switch into DevOps? Of course not, because technically you'll be playing in the same backyard, just playing with different tools. And from my experience, most of the concepts are the same. It just every cloud provider, every provider in this context have found a way to customize their own service for their own, I don't know, for their own gain, or for their own reputation, or I don't know how to put that, but all the concepts stay the same. They just replicate them across different providers. So it's like saying milk and pick milk and what's pick milk and what's this other one? The Three
Hollandia.
Crown. Yeah, Hollandia. They're both milk, but well, everybody they do their own packaging. Right? So you get, so then they form and tell you one is more healthy for children, you know, those things. But it is what it is. So from my experience, I've explained what I know, and I mean, if you or people that go into, you would see you can actually double. I mean, you would work as you literally play with cloud resources now eventually. So you might as well just learn them. So that's my own. I mean, that's my own on the matter. I hope I answered the question that was asked. AY, please let me know. If not, let me go back to it. I really want to shed more.
Yeah. Yes, I think the basic thing is for anyone listening, if you have cloud computing experience, it's going to be very relevant if you're transiting into DevOps. If you have software engineering experience, it's going to place you on a higher pedestal if you're transiting into DevOps, which I believe is actually an advantage, right? That you already know, like you have a good background in it. Right. So thank you so much, Joseph. I think you did justice to it. But that does not mean I'm not going to ask you more questions. So just it right.
We're here.
But
We're
then
here.
I want to, yeah, but then I want to take two questions from the audience now. So you can either drop a chat or raise your hand. Okay, I think I see a hand already. You people are not coming down. Adedokun Omolosho, you can actually you can actually speak now. Unmute yourself and speak.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Mr. Thank you for um, the lectures and Ayomide, thank you for all the questions so far. I want to ask because currently I work for a microfinance bank. I'm also present student of your cybersecurity class. So I actually have this really as in I want to go into this DevOps career path. But my why I'm being confused in this issue is this all the trainings that I've been seeing around for these particular courses, the price I'm seeing is a bit huge to what Travel Tech is giving us. So I want to know, is there any difference between what those are calling the age amount want to offer to what Chevrolet want to offer? That is one. So secondly, we have the developer that we currently employ in our organization. So the guy always tell us because we use Azure environment to host our servers. So if you ask this guy, the guy will be telling us that doubling up as a DevOps engineer. He's going to create a pipeline. He's building image. So I don't understand all this grammar. So I now consulted someone. So the person said, as an admin for IT admin for the bank, so I need to go and study DevOps and also Python if I want to be relevant. So I don't know. Is it true that if you're going to be a DevOps engineer, you have to also do Python, so is it programming? Please, that is the question I want to ask. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I would let Joseph answer the second question, which is about Python. But the first question that you asked is very, very funny, where you said, is the value you are going to get from Travel Tech the same as the one you get from academics that are charging high? Now, I would answer your question with a question, which I know is not proper, but for the sake of this meeting, you mentioned earlier that you are a present student of cybersecurity at Travel Tech Academy. I'm right, right? I want to ask that from what you have learned so far, because I know that the last quote for cybersecurity was in December, if I'm not wrong. Was it December? Yes.
It's on.
So,
It's still not.
what did you say?
I said the course is still on. We've not concluded.
Yes, I know. You started in December, right?
Was it December or November?
One of the two. But from then till now, have you been getting value for your money or not? I'm sure
In
the
fact,
answer is, I'm sure if you are not, you're
extra
never going to
value,
be in this session.
extra value, because now
Extra
our
value.
instructor, no, we have to grade our instructor. It's 200 over 100.
Exactly. Now, the point is, if you were not getting value, you would not even be in this session to start with because your time is precious to you. So, for you to attend this session, it means you also expect quality from us based on the previous experience you have with us, right? The same way, it does not mean that us charging a particular amount of money is not going to give you the value you expect, or because you have seen someone else charge times three or times four. Now, the point is, one of Travel Tech's aim is to help people transition seamlessly into tech careers of their choices. So, which is going to help which is going to mean that some of our prices, you might see way higher prices outside, but it does not mean our value is reduced. No, it just means that we are trying to make it more accessible to you. So if you go to our website, for example, for DevOps, for example, in particular, you can go to www.traveltechng.com. I would ask one of our admins to post the link here. Moyo, could you please post the link on the chat box? So once you click there, you can go to DevOps. You can see the curriculum for DevOps on this on the website, and it will let you know if you will get value for your money or not. We are not an organization or an academy that will lie to you that, okay, come, we're not going to give you a curriculum, just come in, anything you see, your money has gone. No, you will see an extensive curriculum that will let you know if you will get value or not. So after seeing the curriculum, after this free class, you cannot decide whether you think, to be candid, do you think you will get value or not, right? So that's what I would say. Thank you, Moyo. The link is on the chat box already, in the chat box already. So I'll let Joseph answer the second question, which is, do you have to learn Python to become a DevOps engineer?
Thank you very much, Ayo. um,
I, I'm not sure I can pronounce the name correctly, so I'm just going to keep quiet. Okay, but I hear you and I understand your concern about Python. Your question, just to paraphrase, your question is Python a prerequisite to become a DevOps engineer, correct? At the, I don't want to, still more sure. Correct?
Say that
I
again.
did
Say that again.
yeah.
Yeah. It's your question, for clarity's sake. Is Python a prerequisite to become a DevOps engineer? Is that your question?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to use myself. I genuinely am of the school of thought that there's nothing you cannot do, generally speaking, and I say that with context to myself. I do not. Okay, I'm not going to say I don't know how to write. I learned Python because of an entirely different project. However, when I entered DevOps, the language I knew how to write is C sharp. Do you understand? And I have managed so far. So I don't know. Like, I'm going to do what your media did. I mean, I've survived so far. I believe you, you should. I mean, in context of, I don't think Python is a major requirement for. Now, I'm gonna answer the question like this. Now, in DevOps, there are a lot of tools. There are a lot of various tools you come across here, left, right, center. And as I'm talking to you today, before the next 3 weeks, another tool come outside that even me, I don't know. Do you understand? However, if you have programming experience, it doesn't even matter the language. It will help you. If you don't, no problem. If you have Python experience, it's fine. If you don't, no problem. We'll just work with what we have. And like Ayo had earlier stated, there's a curriculum, you can go through it. I don't know everything, and I'm very open to learn. If something you correct me on this call, I will take note. With my jotter now, I'll take note. But if your question is, do you need Python? I do not believe. I do not believe you need Python, no, because I don't. I'm trying to see why. Like, there are maybe setups that might be maybe require like, for example, now if you're installing Jenkins now, you can say, okay, installing Java, all those kind of things. But when you say you must know how to write Python, I don't know. It does help, but look at it like this: if you work in a bank, and let's say your bank, you work in a microfinance bank, correct? And let's say your bank, if you don't mind me asking, do you guys use a microservice architecture, or you guys have one major stack? Hello?
Yeah, microservice. Microservice.
Microservice. Now, out of the microservice, how many languages do you know comfortably as a cybersecurity guy? Like that, if you know, like, you can read.
No, I just started the cybersecurity course.
Exactly, that's my point. So it's helpful that okay, this code waiting the right here. Okay, na Python code, you example Python code. Okay, okay, it's helpful, sha, but you say the work that you require to do. I don't see the need that, but you must know a programming language. That's my own opinion. I mean, you can always prove me wrong, but so far I don't see the need. Is it helpful? Yes, but if you know it didn't do. So I think that's my own. AY, I hope
Yeah,
I
thank you
answered the
so much.
question. Thank you,
Thank you
boss.
very much.
Yes, I think the major thing that you said also was that we should take note of is, in every tech field, for me, I personally believe that there are different tools, like you said, and the fact that, oh, my battery is running low, really. Let me plug it. And the fact that somebody says they use a tool does not mean that's the major requirement for everybody in that field. For example, using data analytics as an example, there is also Python for data analysts. There is SQL, there is Microsoft Excel, there is Tableau, there is Power BI. Now, imagine someone that wants to go into data analytics now saying, is it true that I must learn Python before I become a data analyst? The answer is different organizations might have different requirements. They might have different tools that they want you to use, right? So there are different tools, and you cannot learn everything. That's just the fact. You cannot learn everything. You can't. You can't. How do you have to learn everything? So if it was a prerequisite, everybody, every DevOps engineer will be a Python person. So for them not all to be Python people, then it means that it's not a prerequisite. That person just knows Python, which can be an added advantage to them, right? So thank you so much, Joseph, and thank you, Adedokun, for your question. Um, so another hand is raised. You people and questions. Let me see who I should call. Let me call Caroline. Caroline, can you hear me? Unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Okay, good evening. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear your
Okay,
beautiful voice.
okay. All right, thank you. So, I've been enjoying every bit of the class, and thank you so much to our guests. So, my question is this: you mentioned being starting from application support. I'm currently an app support person also, and she also talked about what's it called, having cloud what's it called, a cloud administrator being what's it called, having an advantage, a software engineer having also an advantage when going into DevOps. Is there, from your experiences so far, do you think there's anything you took in from what's it called, app support? Was there anything, any knowledge you had there? Because right now I feel like it's useless compared to what I want to do. So, were there things you took out of app support that currently helpful to you in what you call your current role as a DevOps engineer? Then my second question is, how were you able to transition? Can you still maybe talk a little bit more about your journey transitioning from app support to software and then DevOps? Like, I've been trying to, and it's really seeming like it's difficult, a very difficult thing to do. Schedule and everything. Thank you.
Okay, so the first question is, are there transferable skills and knowledge from app support to DevOps? And the second one is, what was the transition process like? Personally, I even had it in mind to ask Joseph about the transition process for not just even someone in app support, but generally anyone who wants to transition. What is the process like? Do I have to go and write an exam somewhere first, maybe an entrance exam, or what's the process like? So, Joseph, I think you should answer a question about transferable skills and also touch on transition or transiting generally, right?
Okay. Sorry, Caroline.
Your voice
Thank you.
is low, Joseph.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for your
Okay.
question. Did I pronounce that right? Correct. Okay. So first question was, or rather, is are they transferable skills? Okay. So I'm going to, if you don't mind me prying a bit. So application support. What is your typical day to day? If you don't, just not high level, just give me a high level. So I'll use that to answer the question, the first question you asked. If you don't mind, Caroline, what is like your typical day to day? Going to the office, login. Some one customer will call on me and say, "Oh, so my app is not working." Is that? Or I mean, just tell me, so I'll use that too.
Yeah, okay. So normal, they majorly monitoring, but then yeah, handle customer requests, troubleshoot applications, and then what's it called? So we are fully on-prem. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of in my organization. So there's almost the day doesn't go by without having issues. So
Okay.
troubleshoot applications, and that's all,
Okay. Okay.
and do
Thank you.
deployments and all.
Okay. Thank you very much for your question, and thank you very much for your insights. Now, one skill I am going to tell everybody very clear on this call is that is transferable. Is it troubleshooting? Gee. Uh, it's not because let me say it like this: nobody used to have sense too much. It's not like the sense is there like that. You don't wake up and it's not. So don't even myself on this journey. We're going to be working as a team if we do you understand. But to answer your question, troubleshooting is a very, very, very important transferable skill in your context now. Because I'll give you a typical example. So you have a server that you're managing. Server is throwing maybe 500. For people that don't know what error 500 is, it means internal server error from application level. Um, Somebody's asking a question on the chat. I think we'll come to that. Anyway, so Caroline, your application is doing the 500, and then you come. Your default response will be okay. You know, you go and check maybe okay, is the application, is it working locally? Was it before it was deployed? You know, those basic stuff. That's one of the major transferable skill you would need. Do you understand? Since you already have it, it's just that maybe now you'll be troubleshooting different things. Do you understand? Now, in context of you transitioning, if you don't mind me asking, what you were transitioning okay, let me ask it like this. You were transitioning to software engineering. What stack? First question.
Um,
Caroline.
Not software engineering. I've never considered software engineering.
So you were
Like
transitioning
I'm
to
trying to transition to DevOps.
okay,
I've started so many what's it called? Boot
courses.
camps and stuff. Yeah, stopped halfway and
Okay.
everything. It just seems so difficult.
Trust me, I can relate. Even it's not like all of us are very concentrated like that, but you would, like I said, when you have suffered to go and be carrying an application to go and drop inside server room, and you have seen an easier way, but you have to just suffer and learn it once, it becomes very important to you generally as a person. So, to answer your first question, I do not. To answer your very first question was transferable skills. Troubleshooting is one of them. Handling general customer support would be a skill that you transfer. But in context of this, you might need to work with people. So a DevOps engineer job, like I said, you have to work with developers, and developers are amazing people. I'm saying that in sarcasm, but if you have not worked with developers and you work with developers, they are amazing people. So that's a skill, trust me, that you need in their context. I think that's the first question. The second question, please, can you reiterate the second question so I can move on?
Yeah, my second
What is
question
the
was, can
second
you talk
question?
more about
Oh,
your
okay.
journey transitioning from application
Application.
support to software, and then because I want to go to DevOps, yeah, and it
Okay.
seems like it's
Okay, so I'm not gonna. Okay, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. Would it be easy that you just wake up and it's not gonna be easy like that? But that's why we are here as a team. I don't know everything. I really want to learn from people like you, Seth, because I mean, there's a part of the this thing you are bringing I don't know. Do you understand? There's part of the troubleshooting self that will. Do you understand? And travel tech, we work on projects that not all of us will know it. To even me, say, I even know it's like that. But you understand? That's the whole point of it. Troubleshooting is a way to bring out the best in people, and some people are just very good at it. Some people, I mean, software guys can confirm. There are some people that debugging is their thing. There are certain people that writing code is their thing. Some guys are just. Do you understand? Now, to to answer your question, how did I transition? I mean, it was just okay. Now I'm going to use iOS. So I won't lie. When I was a IT support person, I had this bros that was a software engineer and it was balling. So maybe that's the one that iOS now can use to shade me small. But I liked how he was then he was working from home, and I think that's the thing I liked most about his job. So I just started picking up subtle, and then I'll go and do small projects with him. And I was able to work on a couple of projects. And the truth is, let me be very candid with you. As you are doing, you are becoming confident. Too. That's the truth. It's not I want to start all this small. No, you go and do project that would relatively give you your confidence. So as you do, you generally become confident and better at the things that generally matter. So what I'm going to do is generally, I think I'll just give you the me as a person. I honestly believe when you are teaching people, you don't let the project mean something to them. Do you understand? So imagine if you now as an application support, I'm telling you, okay, I'm teaching you basic skills. So I'm telling you, okay, go and use this skill and deploy. You see that? I mean, so you said deployment in your organization, Caroline. I'm teaching you a skill that you will use it in the today now. That maybe imagine if I'm in an organization that has not adopted DevOps at all, and I'm still copying heavy file to go to server room. you get it will be very personal to me because me, I'm trying to reduce my work. I want to be living la vida loca and be in the office and be watching film and chilling. Do you understand? So I'm not saying that's what we should do, but that's the whole point. As far as it makes your life and your job easy, you get. So your my transition, I've explained it basically. I needed to solve a problem. And I just started transitioning generally. It's not like it was very easy like that, or I will not be falling out of, do you understand? But because I had the problem was there, it was not going. I don't get choice, Nina. I guess do you understand? You do today, you fail, and then you go back and you try. I think that generally everybody's tech story. It's not like everybody figure it out at once. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Caroline. If it doesn't, please let me shed more insight on it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna come here and tell you, it's gonna be very, very rosy. But like I said, if you're committed to this curriculum, and you work with everything we provided, I mean, it's not like when you come and you not be DevOps engineer here too. I mean, it's if you have a project that means to you, it's gonna make a lot of sense. And like I said, there are a lot of tools, and also something that I must highlight here, please, in your careers, something a lot of people don't know is it's not about always just, I mean, you join and everything, but learning and unlearning is something we must generally adopt. So you get, so maybe tomorrow now, Caroline will be the one teaching me on technology. I don't know. So that's just what's up. So I think that answers your question. Um, I think the next person should ask
Okay.
their question.
So, thank you for that, Joseph. And I think for everyone also desiring to transition, whether from app support or not, you need to also understand that nothing good just falls on your lap. Bam. Even though it just falls on your lap, someone has worked for it, right? And you first have to be determined and willing to transition, or to be willing to learn new things. Be willing to also give it time. Sometimes I feel like people are magicians in their minds. You want to study something in university or polytechnic or a college of education, you spend 2, 3, 4 years to learn that course, but you want to go into tech and you want to do it. And after you've do it, you want your life to be perfect. You want to start making blood money, like Joseph said in the beginning of this session. Within 3 months, calm down now, right? So there's a process to everything, and you also have to understand that everything requires time. So thank you so much for that once again. Someone else was raising their hand. Saluni Limited. Are you here? You can unmute yourself. Saluni.
Okay, I think the question has been answered, so that's fine. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm glad. All right. Thank you so much. Let me see if there's any hand left, so that I will know if I should continue and mind my business or. Okay, I don't think we have any hand left anymore. So let's just go on. And if you have questions, you can just drop it in the
Sorry,
chat box.
sorry.
Okay.
I think someone raised a question that I'm very intrigued about.
Yes. Thank you so much, Joseph. So
Okay,
I think there was even it's three, Seth. I'm seeing three questions in the chat box. The first one from Ajay Abdurrahman is, does DevOps include a programming language? I think you talked about that already.
do you want
Right?
me to answer one by one, or you want to read all and then I answer which
Yes, I
one?
think you should answer one by one.
Okay, so the question I highlighted is I have a question. Okay, are we going to learn Linux and cloud during the DevOps class? Okay, so based on the curriculum, I think you should look at it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. That's what I promised AY here. But as a DevOps engineer, your day to day is going to most setup will be Linux. But you might be lucky, or you might just like, for example, somebody like me now, you got to join a company that maybe most of the application is .NET. You might be very lucky, but I will not lie. Most of your day to day, if you join most time, them companies will be Linux. However, we would touch on it. Do you understand? We're going to touch on it. Something that you need as a skill is something you need to, but if you're coming from a Mac background, you now want to come and jump. It's like I said, AY already talked about you. It's time you play around. Ah, some people are raising hand like this. Okay, yeah, but you play around it. But we'll touch on it. We'll touch on it because obviously when we are installing certain what's the word now? Certain package. We're installing certain tools. For example, we'll walk through people that are using Mac, people that are using Linux, people that are using Windows. If the majority is using Windows, we'll walk through it. The majority is using. So we'll walk around all those guys. We would touch once, and we'll play on it. When you say learning Linux, I'm going to ask the question back to you. Did you learn Windows? Because it's a tricky one too. Because do you understand? I would carry you enough to do enough, and you're going to learn on the job. You're going to play around. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to you get that's the plan. It's not like you just fall in and no, because I mean, people also need to be. You need to be as comfortable as possible with these things. You need to before you even talk about I want to do this, I want to do that. I mean, I don't even like to even say if I know Linux either because just did. So we will touch on obviously we'll touch on Linux. And when you say cloud during the DevOps cloud, I mean we would obviously use a cloud provider. That would be one of the things we'll talk about. So you obviously we'll talk a bit on cloud. We'll touch on the various. I've already mentioned the major three. There are various cloud providers. There's Oracle. There are a lot of those guys, but we'll touch on them. I'm not going to promise I will go in depth and now be fine. Oh no, because the concept is not cloud. But like I said, DevOps is the development part and the operation part. So your job is practically a middleman. Make sure that the application that was developed is deployed. So and in most setup now, you unless you have somebody that wants to volunteer and give us an on-premises server, all of us will go and meet and be plugging if that's what you want to do. Most setup now is cloud. So
So the
that
thing is, I want to buttress what you said, Joseph. The question the person is asking. The person asked was who's the person again? Let me read your name so that as I'm talking, I can address you by your name. Okay, it's Osilaja AA. So AA Osilaja, maybe your name is Ayomide like me, so I don't know, but the point is we're not going to sugarcoat anything, like Joseph said. When Joseph started, I don't know if you joined earlier enough or you joined later on, he mentioned that having a background in software engineering or software development and or cloud computing or cloud administration, AWS or Azure or GCP, Google Cloud Platform, is going to be a plus for you for the DevOps course. Or maybe like someone who is in app support, like Caroline said earlier, is a plus. But he also made mention that he cannot override totally and say no if you don't have any background in cloud or software. But as an academy, I'm speaking for the academy now as a brand manager, that we are not going to teach you cloud in this program. Although we're going to touch on stuff, like he said, we will try our best to carry you along. I said try our best in quotes to carry you along in the program. But having these backgrounds in software or cloud is a plus. It's just like saying, if I don't do SS3, can I write WAEC or WASE or West African examination? The answer is nothing is impossible. Yes, SS3 was created for a reason. But if there are people that write I have nieces and nephews that wrote WAEC in SS2 and they had distinctions. And I'm like, hey, bookworm, right? There's nothing impossible. But it just means that you yourself will not just rely on everything taught in the class and you're just sitting down like, oh, anything they teach me, I'll just take it, hook and sinker, swallow it, and that's the end until the next class. No, you must also be willing to work, do practicals very well, experiment whatever you're taught, go deep. Do personal study too. Go back to what you are taught. If you can do personal research on cloud itself while you start the DevOps program, it will help you to catch up faster. Do you understand? So someone says, I'm in SS2, I want to write WAEC, and someone else finished SS3. Of course, it's going to be easier for someone who finished SS3, but it does not mean someone in SS2 cannot also write WAEC, right? So that's how it is. So we'll try our best as an academy to carry you along, but we're not going to treat you like, oh, let's now go. What is cloud? What? Do you understand? We're going to try our best. So that's just that for any other person that has that question in mind. And another thing is there's actually a cloud administration course in Chevtech Academy. We do AWS in Chevtech Academy, and the next course for that one is next month. So while DevOps is this month, for cloud, if you think you want to do cloud first to have background knowledge in cloud administration, then you can enroll for our next month's course for AWS cloud computing. Then maybe after you are done with that 3 months, you can now enroll for DevOps after that. Our cloud program is 2 months actually, and then you have access to mentorship. So I think that's that. It's 10 weeks, 10 weeks, not 2 months. It's 10 weeks. I think 2 months is 8 weeks, right? So that's that. By the way, I'm just going to go to the next question because someone raised their hands when Joseph was talking. Revive Radiant or Radiant Revive. Okay, Radiant Revive, unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to ask, is Joseph going to be the instructor for this class, or he just talking to us now?
So I want to make a guess. Anything you say, let's make a guess. Do you think Joseph is the instructor, or
That's
do
right.
you
That's
think
right.
he's not? Otto, what did
Well,
you
he
say?
kept on saying, "I will,
That's
So I just felt I would love if you be the instructor. I would love it,
Do
But
you okay? Do you like Joseph?
I love Joseph, as an instructor, not in that way. Eh?
Of course, not that. Joseph, you don't get lovers here. Oh. Hey, nobody loves me like this. Okay. Oh. So, drum rolls. Yeah, 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 yeah. Joseph is going to be the instructor.
Thank God, thank you.
I've marked your face now. Radiant, Radiant. If I don't see your name in the list of students, I'll come and drag you here. Okay, that was on a lighter mode. Joseph, now you have lovers, so come and share salary here because this one that I'm hyping you up. Okay, so Otom Bara Okolai, I think you have a question, right?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, you're also a lover of Joseph.
Eh?
All right, so let's just go on. Thank you to everyone that asked questions, and thank you, Joseph, for contributing. So, Joseph, I have another question for you, and now this is going to be very practical. I think I want us to talk about money. Because in this life, we all have bills. Okay, maybe not everybody, but me personally, I have bills. And I believe that many people have bills too. Like Caroline now. Caroline is considering transiting from app support. You know, get waiting Caroline see before she talks say she want transition. Money is important, right? And you also mentioned blood money. I can never forget that phrase. The term blood money in DevOps. Let's talk about the earning potential of DevOps, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. As a DevOps engineer, Caroline is laughing. Caroline likes money. And then someone was saying DevOps engineers are allowed to work remotely, but app support are not allowed. Oh yeah, come and join DevOps. So, Joseph, what do you think is the earning potential for someone who is a DevOps engineer? Don't worry, I'm not going to beg you for your salary after you tell us the answer. We'll not come and beg. Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. How do I answer this question now? Okay, I'll try. Okay, so typically one of the reasons why DevOps is quote unquote very hot and buzzing is because you are, I won't say you're replacing, but you are a major dependent on a lot of things. Now, the job has its very good days, and it has the days that you now everybody in software knows that you every 2-3 weeks you now be questioning your life choices. I mean, it's a steady thing. You'll now be wondering maybe you should have become like me now. Every time I always wonder if I should become a boxer. You understand? You know those moments where they are down, but that's the thing. To answer your question now, earning potential, it's crazy. I mean, it's I don't like to say crazy is not a good word, but it's since it's a new, I won't say it's a new, it's a upcoming part that a lot of people are not in yet. And I mean, some people just know certain tools and they are fine with it. Some people know certain tools and they just, okay, that's Do you understand? So DevOps is a core. I like to, in my context, I like to call it a culture because well, it's not. Some people make it sound like the tool, but it's the culture that defines the tools you use. So depending on your setup. Now, money wise, in Nigeria, a typical average DevOps engineer that's that will, if you bobo your way, know what they do relatively deploy software. I mean, you should play around. You should play around a typical salary of a software engineer. Or okay, AY, should I give figures or I should just give
What
ranges?
are you saying? Should you what? You should give figures. We're talking about money.
Okay, so before our dollar was swelling like a jabu gari, I mean, um, yeah. So I mean, it's relative depending on company,
You
depending on skill.
should go
Depending
then.
on
When they ask you for money, you people will be going corner and corner. I promised
okay,
already that I will not bill you. What are you scared of exactly? What?
okay. So I'm gonna. It's an average range, but between there's a range usually. I mean, if you in Nigeria, let me use Nigeria, you can negotiate up to 1 million naira. You say 1 million plus. It depends. So you can. So I'm going to give a very wide range, depending on how good you are. You can negotiate from 500 to 1.5, 500 to 2 million, 500, depending on what your setup will be, depending on your level, depending on how what the company's goal is in Nigeria. I mean, for outside Nigeria, like I always typically, I mean, the goal is dollars now, so you typically play around foreign gigs and everything. So but obviously those guys are using crazy technologies that even myself I used to wonder if I know anything every, like I said, every 2 weeks, but crazy technologies like they will use. So obviously them, if on a very bad day, if they don't, when they want to talk to you, you must at least 4K 10K. So that's dollars. So that's where you will fall on a very bad day. So let's say the companies don't have money, so they'll pay you 4K to 10K, depending on now how you bring your value add and negotiations and all those. Maybe they'll give you equity, depending on however you play it. But yeah, that's just so I've given context in Nigeria and I've given context outside. So not so the thing is, not every, let me put it like this, not every, like not it, the culture has not been like what's the word now, the culture has not been adopted fully. So a lot of people still prefer, I mean, and it's understandable, for security reasons, they still prefer their on-premises setup. That's fine, but it's a very lucrative field. That's what I would say. And depending on how good you are, you would you would you should be
Just
able to.
say no more. The very short range, 500K to 2 million naira. Is that what you said? I think I want to stop being brand manager. I want to do DevOps now. That your class. I think I want to join your class next course. But another thing I want to say is that dollar range that you said 4K. I actually believe that you stooped so low to say 4K because I'm serious. Because in the US, 4K is not like, I mean, it's small. It's small. Trust me, it's small. Huh? But then I'll just say that
Okay.
that Nigeria range is even good. I mean, let's start with 500K. I mean, a lot of people will hear this and say, Nigeria of today. What are you saying? How much is 500K? How much is minimum wage? 33,300 or how much? And you're collecting 500K for something you transited into without even going to a university. Come on now, guys. This is lucrative. I mean, this is lucrative. So thank you so much for that. Otto Brara, you like money. Why is it when I talked about money that you muted your mic? What do you want to say? So I mean, I feel like it's a
Nothing
good.
much.
What did you say? Okay, maybe he wasn't saying anything literally. So I feel like it's a good thing, and I mean, okay, Joseph. I think after I've talked money, let's be practical enough. Let's talk about the transition process again, and since we already know that you're going to be the instructor for Trevotech Academy, what's the duration for DevOps in Trevotech Academy to move into DevOps?
Okay, so the curriculum that was shared is 10 weeks. However, there's a mentorship program for 3 months, and then during that 3 months, we would talk about other things like how you are going to be facing gangster recruiters and plenty tests that you will fail some and pass some. But it's a process that everybody will collect breakfast once, and I mean recover, but it builds you generally. So yeah. Now, to answer your question, how long is the this thing? Answer is 10 weeks.
Okay, now I just want to say this for everyone else that is not familiar with Trevtech Academy. At Trevtech Academy, our classes hold on Saturdays and Sundays only from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that is because many people have jobs that they do during the week. So we don't expect to now put a class on Monday morning and say you must join because you have paid money, right? So we want it to be comfortable for everybody. And our classes are online, they are virtual live classes. We are not just going to give you a course and say you have registered, so take this course, go and pay. Yes, one of our admins just dropped something on the chat box, the program details. Excuse me. Our classes hold on Google Meet here. Your instructor is going to share his screen. You're going to work on practical hands-on projects. Some people ask questions like, how can we do practical online? How can you not do practical online? When people even go to school, university online. Come on now. Just joking. So you're going to have practicals, and also I want you to know that, like someone mentioned earlier, that they have seen an academy or academies that charge higher than Travel Academy, and do we have value or do we not have value? I would advise that you go to our website, check the curriculum, and you can have a look for yourself the things we are going to touch on in the sessions. Now, what's someone saying? Someone said, please, has the class already started? No, the class has not already started. The class is starting this week, and registrations end next week, Wednesday. So, Moyo, can you please drop my WhatsApp number here so that people can chat me up and ask more questions on WhatsApp? So registration ends February 8th, which is next week Wednesday. And once registration ends like this, the door is closed. The door is what? The door is closed. So if you know you are going to be interested in this, in DevOps for Travel Tech Academy, it's actually very good that you save your money now between today, Saturday and Wednesday, so that the doors will not be closed. And the earlier the better for you. Now the good part is you can pay twice. That's the good part. You can pay twice. So I mean that's good enough. That's good enough. That's very good enough. So that's just for people who are not familiar with Travel Academy. Our classes are Saturdays and Sundays only. And the good part again is Joseph talked about mentorship. Now, once you transition in 10 weeks, we don't just leave you to yourself. Like that's the end of the session. Bye. That's your life. No, we still give you extra 12 weeks, which is free. I mean, FREE, free mentorship. So you're going to be having sessions every week for another 12 weeks, just to know how you can get recruited, how you can develop your CV if you're just transiting, build your portfolio, and all of that, right? So it's actually a good thing that you are not left alone. Many people don't have that opportunity. They just learned these things on their own and they were left to themselves. And they had to now struggle. I mean, you don't have to go through all of that when there is someone who can put you through and there are people who could hold your hands, right? Then another thing is our classes are recorded. So let's say you cannot make a class or two. I mean, you should attend classes. But let's say you can't make a class or two, you have access to recordings. Okay, so I'm going to ask Joseph another question. Okay, I think there's a hand up. Adedoko, your hand is up again.
Yes, please. I heard that you said the course is starting next week. What about we that we've not completed our cybersecurity and I want to register.
Is
How
it
do we
because of
do it?
the blood money that you want to go from cybersecurity to DevOps?
No, it's not about that. I actually wanted to go into that initially. So how
So
do
the
we do
thing
it?
is, the cybersecurity program is a different one, and I feel like if you have begun that, you can actually finish it. Although, if you think you just want to go into DevOps now, and maybe you have made up your mind that you want to just go in transition or transit into DevOps finally, then it's possible that you register. And since there are recorded classes for the cybersecurity, you can also finish up with that, with the recorded classes, and start your DevOps class next week, Saturday. So it depends on if you have made up your mind finally that you want to transition into DevOps now. But if you are still on the fence, then you might want to make up your mind totally, because they are not exactly the same fields. So you want to be ready to move from A to B. Do you understand? So that's my own advice. Um, okay, so Joseph, I have another question now, which is when it comes to DevOps now, I know that in tech, there are certain fields that have certification exams or professional examinations that you can take after your bootcamp training that can put you on an edge or put you on a higher leverage, right? For DevOps, what are the certification exams or professional examinations that people can take after their bootcamp trainings that can help them be on a higher pedestal? Do you understand my question?
This your language of pedestal every time. Talk.
Why pedestal? Because I'm
Okay.
a pedestrian.
Okay, so I'm gonna I'm always realistic with everybody and everything I try to do. So yeah, certifications you can always get. So they are typically because most of the DevOps practices would be done in cloud environments, and most cloud providers can provide those services. They typically have their own certifications that they can certify you with. So I'm going to go over the major cloud providers. So we have Google Cloud, we have Azure, and we have Azure, which is Microsoft, and we have AWS, Amazon Web Services. Now, the most popular cloud provider in cloud right now, to the best of my knowledge, somebody can prove me wrong, is AWS. Do you understand? Now, AWS has a certification called there's cloud practitioner, there's solution architect, then there's a Azure professional. There's a DevOps professional. Excuse me. Now, those certifications you can take them when you feel like okay, do you understand? I don't sabi go. I won't go on the oppressed people. That's one you can do. I mean, some people just, I mean, those would I like to tech CEO pose. Some people, I mean, so there are different ways, different things people have this thing. But to answer your question, different vendors have different certifications you can take for a certification to certify that you are DevOps. So, like I gave context, some people are very very good with specific cloud providers. For instance, I picked up Google Cloud because of recent, and I'm not going to tell you, nah, go and do Google Cloud DevOps, no, go and do Azure. I mean, it does help after all because if a cloud provider has certified that you have, I mean, you have passed the exam. If I'm a recruiter, I'm looking at this thing. I'm saying, well, this one, okay, don't pass on, shall go stress my life. So for him to pass this thing, it means that it relatively has more sense. Do you understand? So it helps the recruiter, it helps you stand out. But if but it to answer the question I was asked, are they the certifications you can take are Azure DevOps for AWS, Azure DevOps certification for Azure, for AWS has theirs, Azure has theirs, Oracle has theirs, and Google Cloud has theirs. So those are certifications you can take. They help you stand out. You can also take in context of other this thing. You can take Kubernetes certifications. that one is CKA. That one is, I mean, that's premium stuff. If you can pass that one, it speaks to your. It's practically just saying, Kubernetes is okay. Let me digress. I come back. Kubernetes is a container orchestration tool. For people that don't know container, I'm still going to explain what the container is. A container is oh Lord, this is okay. So I also digress a bit. So please bear with me. Now we have an application. An application can be built into a container, an image. An image can be deployed to a container, and that container, we can have multiple containers. It's fine if you don't understand anything I'm saying. That's why you should join the course. But for Kubernetes is a orchestration tool, meaning you are going to be orchestrating plenty containers. What I'm saying might not make sense to you if you're not a non-tech person. It's fine, but the point is, if that certification is something that you can stand out, if you take it, I mean, some guys that their setup is already is strictly Kubernetes. You are using Kubernetes. They just say, okay, you already have this certification, so you relatively will know most of the concepts and you'll be fine. So to answer your question, you can take the Azure, the AWS DevOps certification, or the Kubernetes, or the CK Kubernetes certification. Those are the very common ones that people would have around. So, anyway, I hope that answered
Okay.
your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Thank you. Another practical question I would like to ask is, how practical is Tech Academy DevOps program? How practical is it?
Okay, so I think I want to leave that to when we join the team. When people join the team, I want to honestly weigh and see how people are, and if, for example, if someone like Caroline joins, I honestly believe with practical doing. So Caroline knows how to troubleshoot very well. I'm assuming at the barest minimum. So when she comes, we'll play around with what she knows, and also what she already knows, and then give her a bit of what I know, and then we make magic happen. That's an example of typical what. So when you mean practical, we will definitely play around tools. I'm not going to now come and tell you, oh, this is the one you must now do A, B, C, D. I'm not going to do that, because people process information differently, and I want to have a class where I won't say class because I don't sound like someone that has sense, but I want to have a group of people that, I mean, you can be carried along and they can learn stuff at their own way, and that it makes sense to them, especially when they don't have a tech background at all. So that is the context. So how practical, I mean, it's something that the class, I won't let say class, it's practical. It's going to be very practical. It's going to be very practical in context that everybody's going to participate in every week that we have a class. So heads up, everybody's going to do a project. Everybody will do, every concept will be practicalized by one person in the setup. So it's going to be very practical, and all the errors will all see it together, and everybody will face it together. And also that you know, it's, if somebody is fixing the problem all the time, you could just be like, say that one concern the guy. But if all of us feel the problem, we now see what the problem is, and we are seeing that this is the problem. All of us, when the solution come outside, it go stick for head. If I hope that makes sense. Um,
Yes. Thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you. Um, I mean, you have touched on a lot of things today, and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to take three more questions, and then we wrap it up tonight, because we need to let our instructor sleep. So I beg, let him rest. So I'm going to take three more questions. You can raise your hand, or you can use the chat box. So we have until 3 minutes time. If nobody has any question, I'll just wrap it off. Then I want to correct something about the mentorship that I said earlier. So the mentorship program, after you are done with the boot camp, which is 10 weeks, is for 3 months, right? But it's not 3 months of classes again. Because some people might be like, I just finished classes, 10 weeks. People now want to rush with another 3 months. I beg now, let me just even enjoy what I've learned. So we understand that there can be overwhelm. And I mean, what's the point of overwhelming you and burdening you with another 12 weeks of classes in the name of mentorship. So what we do is there is 4 weeks of classes where you meet with mentors in the course, which is DevOps in this case, and then you have 8 weeks of free access to the mentors in the community. And in that 8 weeks, you are expected to explore the things you have learned in that 4 weeks to know how you can do that. So things like your resume building, LinkedIn, your LinkedIn is going to they're going to teach you how you can maximize your LinkedIn, how you can network on LinkedIn. You'll be taught how to also, maybe if you need a portfolio, how to build a portfolio, how to pass interview questions, common interview questions, what kind of companies can you reach out to, what kind of sites can you get jobs on. You understand? Stuff that would help you for practicality and make you job ready. Should you go with internship first or should you go straight to getting a job? All of those things will be touched. So after that, you'll be excited to explore those things by yourself, get practical insights and do them, make use of them. And then you have access to the mentor for another 8 weeks. So after which you believe that, we self don't try. So that's about the mentorship. So I see a hand up, which is Okpe. Okay, you can speak now.
Okay, please, this is a completely different question. I just want to find out if you have any course on project management, or we'll chat later in your WhatsApp about it.
Yes, you can chat me, but yes, we have a course for product management. And luckily, tomorrow is the free session, question and answer session for product management. This
Thank
same
God.
product managers in the house. So this same time, no, the same time we started this today, sorry, 7 p.m. and it's the same link. So you can join 7 p.m. tomorrow. So we're going to have a product manager talk extensively and also business analysis tomorrow. So for people that are interested, and it starts next week, Saturday too. So you can join in to get your questions answered for product management and business analysis.
Okay,
Traveling
thank you.
Academy, you're welcome. Traveling Academy has various courses. We have data analytics, we have UI UX or product design, we have cyber security, we have product management, we have AWS, we have DevOps. I mean, we have a number of courses. So it's not just DevOps we do, right? So thank you for that question, Okwe. So if you're interested, same station,
You're
same
welcome.
time tomorrow. I think that's the only person that asked question for now. For the person asking for how much do Ghanaians pay, I would say you should look on the website. So the link has been sent. But I mean, let me just say it's 2,000 CDs, Ghanaian CDs for DevOps program. But you can also look on the website for more inside the curriculum and all. So it's 2,000 Ghanaian CDs, then you can pay twice. For Naira too, 90,000 Naira, you can pay twice. So that's that. So Joseph, I would like to say a very big thank you for honoring the invitation, for opening our minds, our hearts, and our eyes, and even our ears to the world of DevOps. Thank you for taking us on this journey. I mean, DevOps seems very interesting. Thank you for breaking the terminologies and the jargon down. And thank you for taking us to a higher pedestal. So I'm really glad that you made it. Oh, you guys enjoyed the session. That's so sweet. Show me love. Show me love in the comment section. We don't offer quality assurance, Oluchi. We don't offer quality assurance. Do you want us to offer it? Come to my DM or WhatsApp. Let's talk. Moses enjoyed the session. Caroline enjoyed the session. Caroline, you're thanking only Joseph. You're not thanking me. Why? Why? What did woman do to woman? Joseph, let me hear your voice before you go this night. Thank you so much. Thank you for gracing us on this occasion.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for having me. Ayo, Caroline, everybody that turned up, I really, really appreciate. I'm hoping that we can do great stuff together. Please come with your ticket cards or sign up. Let's make magic happen. I can't promise you I know everything, like I said, but we will make stuff happen. I mean, I would try to be as relatable, as understanding, as what's the word now, as workable as I could be, and also you do the same thing with me because it makes the whole process very similar. Um, understanding
Thank you. I know you're a good teacher because you break down terminology. And Caroline and Joseph, it's two of you of should move from this call because Joseph too also said thank you, Caroline. Out of what people that ask questions, why bias?
I said thank you much, everybody.
All right, guys. I really enjoyed the session too. Thank you so much. Product management, business analysis, 7 p.m. tomorrow on this same link. So I would also be your host for tomorrow. I'd like to have you guys, the people that are interested, and don't forget registration for DevOps ends on Wednesday next week, February 8th. So save your money now between now and then. If you don't have money, go and borrow money. Bye bye. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.